Marvel versus DC. It's the rivalry that has defined comic books, and now movies, for generations. It's the argument you have in comic shops, on forums, everywhere. But beyond just who would win in a fight, there are these deep fundamental differences in how these two giants tell their stories. So, let's get into it. Here's how we're going to break it all down. We're going to start with their core ideas about what a hero even is, then see how that shapes their entire worlds. After that, we'll watch it all play out in those big on-screen clashes, and finally, we'll check the scoreboard to see who's winning the battle for your local comic shop. Okay, we have to get this out of the way first. We've all heard it, right? That old cliche about humans and gods. It's the go-to line. But as one Reddit user so beautifully put it, it's a little played out. The real differences are way more subtle and honestly a lot more interesting. So, no bears today, we're going deeper. And that deeper dive starts right here. It's about the most fundamental question each universe asks. What is the hero? Is it the person under the mask, or is it the mask itself? The answer to that question? Well, that's the key to everything else. So, at its core, it kind of looks like this. Marvel heroes, they're often seen as man-heroes. They're basically regular people who had something extraordinary happen to them. A spider bite, a super serum, you name it. But DC characters are often these colossal demigods. They're beings who operate way above humanity, almost on a mythic level. And here's where it gets really fascinating. For Marvel, the person, the man or woman under the suit, is what drives the icon. The costume is just a tool. But in DC's world, the icon often completely takes over the person. The superhero becomes the real identity, and the civilian life? That's the disguise. And you can't get a better example of that DC approach than Batman. I mean, think about it. Is he Bruce Wayne dressing up as a bat? Or is he Batman, this force of nature, who just pretends to be a billionaire during the day? For a lot of people, Bruce Wayne is the mask that Batman wears. But then you flip over to Marvel, and you get Spider-Man. No matter how many buildings he swings from, Peter Parker is always right there under the spandex. With his money problems, his relationship troubles, all his guilt, the hero and his very human flaws are totally inseparable. He's not some myth. He's just a kid from Queens trying his best. So this whole difference in character philosophy, it's not just some abstract idea. It has huge, real-world consequences for the very fabric of their universes. Let's look at how this one difference builds entire worlds, or in DC's case, a whole lot of them. See, the Marvel universe was pretty much designed from day one to be interconnected. Most of the big heroes were created by just a handful of people around the same time, all living in the same city. DC, on the other hand, was built by absorbing characters from different companies and creators over decades. It was kind of like a patchwork quilt that didn't always line up perfectly. And to fix that patchwork problem, DC fully embraced the multiverse and the reboot. Events like Crisis on Infinite Earths weren't just big crossover stories. They were basically cosmic housekeeping, a way to clean up confusing timelines. From Flashpoint to Rebirth, DC has made a habit of tearing its reality down just to build it back up again. And that's really the bottom line here. DC's fluid, multiverse-based structure means it can reinvent itself all the time. You can have 3 different Batman running around in 3 different realities. But Marvel, their canon is much more rigid. It's one single timeline. Hitting a reset button that big is almost impossible without upsetting decades of storytelling and alienating a lot of fans. Their universe is built to evolve, not reboot. Okay, so we've got gods versus men, multiverses versus one single universe. How does all this theory actually look on the big screen? Well, it leads to 2 very, very different styles of filmmaking, and some of the most intense fan debates you will ever find online. Let's talk DC first. When you watch a Zack Snyder action scene, what do you see? Because fans are completely split. Is it raw, visceral, and hard-hitting? Or is it just a chaotic, over-the-top mess of slow motion and dodgy physics? The people who love it will point to things like the warehouse fight in Batman vs. Superman. As one fan said, it's raw and brutal. You feel the weight of every single punch. For them, that's what makes DC's action so great. But for every fan who thinks that's awesome, there's another who finds it totally unwatchable. To them, those same scenes are just optical vomit, a jumble of shaky cameras, nonsensical physics, and style over substance. Now let's jump over to Marvel, because they have their own big debate. Is their action fun, creative, and full of clever teamwork, or is every single moment of real tension immediately killed by a joke? Fans who love Marvel's style, they point to these incredible moments of synergy. You know, Thor blasting Iron Man's suit to supercharge it, Cap using his shield to bounce lasers, or Hawkeye firing an arrow with Ant-Man on the tip. It's not just a fight, it's like a carefully choreographed dance where everyone's powers work together. But the criticism is just as strong. For a lot of people, Marvel's biggest problem is that they never let a serious moment land. The nonstop jokes and quips, they argue, just suck all the drama out of the room, turning what should be big character moments into just another punchline. So we've seen how all these different philosophies lead to passionate arguments online. But this isn't just about fan theories. This stuff has a real impact on the bottom line. It's trying to look at the numbers in the actual battle for the comic shop. As of the end of 2024, this is the market share gap between Marvel and DC. Just 6 percentage points. Now, here's the wild part. Just a year ago, that gap was a whopping 13 points. Something has definitely changed, and it changed fast. So here's the lay of the land. At the end of 2024, Marvel was still on top, with about a third of the market. DC was sitting comfortably in second place, with almost 27%. So yeah, Marvel's still the king, but that kingdom has gotten a lot smaller. And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? In just 3 months, Marvel's share took a nosedive, from almost 40% down to 33%. And at the exact same time, DC's share grew. This suggests that readers were literally putting down Marvel books and picking up DC books instead. So what gives? Well, pretty much everyone agrees it's because of DC's big all-in initiative and the launch of their new Absolute Universe. It's a fresh creative direction that's clearly getting people excited and, more importantly, getting them to open their wallets. And that brings us to the big final question. The business rivalry is the tightest it's been in years. Both of their movie universes are in a massive state of change. New creative ideas are shaking everything up. So, are we watching a new era begin? One where those core differences we talked about, the gods, the men, the universes, finally start to fade away? I guess only time will tell.